And welcome to another episode of Hero Power. I am your host, Avanties, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Zerotio.
What is up, gang? I just want to take a quick minute. We're at episode 264. We've been doing this for a while, and we're still at it. I just want to take a moment, just kind of breathe that in. You know, I've enjoyed this community first off, and doing this podcast with you, and I'm enjoying Hearthstone. And Hearthstone's been 7 years now, if you count the closed beta.
Yeah, closed beta started in 2013, so yeah.
So eight years.
8 years in October or somewhere around there, yeah.
So a little over 7 years. So that's awesome. Now, my week in Hearthstone, I'm kind of taking it easy. The meta's been kind of not to my liking. I like certain decks in it, but certain decks I'm playing against, I'm not enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hoping this patch, which we'll talk more about here momentarily, I was hoping this patch would change that. And it has for the most part, but there are still a couple matchups that I'm not enjoying. And I get on, right now I'm real streaky. Like, I'll win 9 games in a row, and then I'll go on these benders of losses, and I'll shoot up to Diamond 1 and shoot back down Diamond 5. And I haven't done that in like over a year now. And it's just, I don't know if it's just a 4-set meta. And I've always said I'm not a fan of 4-set metas because you have less tools to play with, and you're going to see less options because there are less tools to play with. Where a 6-set meta, you might have 2 or 3 different viable decks per class. And there just isn't enough cards in the pool for a 4-set meta to do that. So I am hoping one day we can go to a rotating standard set, so we always have 6 sets in the meta. Maybe when one phases out, the other phases in. But that might be too much churn for esports. I don't know. I am enjoying the game, just not as much as I normally have, and I kind of have to struggle to play more than maybe an hour and a half. And I'm still getting in a good hour and a half a day. But after that, it's like I could play Valheim. I could do something else.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mentioned last week I'm going to start streaming, and I'm going to be playing a lot of other games. I will probably play some Hearthstone occasionally, but there's just so many other things out there that I want to play right now, and I love Hearthstone. I always have, and I will continue to, but I'm not gonna lock myself into a single title and just play Hearthstone all the time.
Hearthstone is still Bay, and it always will be. I'm playing THL. I didn't get to play my match this week because I got a DQ win, so gave us a head start. We're now 8-8 right now, tied because of my wonderful effort to get us 4 points for free.
Nice.
So
a win's a win.
And we still have our head up to play, and he usually knocks it out the park. So we're sitting in a good spot this week to possibly win week 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still playing, getting my test games in, doing my quests. We'll talk more towards the end of the audio portion, but I think I'm going to start just playing Tavern Brawl when I see something I like.
See, my thing,
that's not important to me anymore.
That's what I do with Battlegrounds. Whenever I log in and whatever my quests are, like, I'll knock out my quests and then I just spend the rest of the week playing Battlegrounds. This week, I have not gotten to play as much as I have in the last couple of weeks. I've been busy with work and was doing some landscaping here at the house this weekend. So, I've not gotten a chance to play as much as I would like to, but I have gotten my games in. I'm going to play some more Battlegrounds tonight, knock those out, because I still need 3 wins in a Tavern Brawl, Arena, Battleground, or Duel. So I'm going to knock that out tonight and be ready to start all over fresh again tomorrow at the beginning of the new week.
And see, I'm not a fan of Battlegrounds. I occasionally will play every now and then, but like anytime I get a Battlegrounds quest, I re-roll it because it just isn't worth the time for me.
If the win 5 constructed was not such a high experience, I would re-roll that quest every single week.
And we'll talk more about that later when we get into the latter part of the first part of the news. But so everybody enjoys Hearthstone differently, which is what I really, really like right now.
Yeah,
and some people
too.
are really enjoying this meta. And it's making esports really fun to watch. The week 1 of Grandmasters, and we'll get to details of week 2 later. I didn't even watch because it was like, oh, this meta is killing me. And so this week 2 was fun to watch because the meta is so on its heels after a balance change. But let's get into the news.
Yeah. So as we mentioned last week, patch 20.0.2 went live this past week on April 13th. And as we had mentioned, there were going to be 6 constructed card changes, and we got most of them dead on. You know, we talked about it, and we didn't know what those changes would be. We did a little speculating, but now we know. So first up, Deck of Lunacy. This was what some people would say was the big offender, and it went from 2 mana to 4 mana.
Yeah.
But I'm still seeing it as much as I was before. Do you think this affected it at all, Zerotio?
Okay, so there was a really good discussion by a few different members out there. Ridiculous Hat being one. I think Lorinda actually talked about it too as well, I think on his stream. So the win rate for Deck of Lunacy on 2 was something stupid, like in the 70% win rate. Win rate if you played it on 2, and on 3 it was like in the high 50s, and on 4 it was still above 50%. It was like 50 point something win rate when you played Lunacy on 4. Now the difference is, before you play Lunacy on 4 and still have at least 2 mana to play with to finish out that turn, where now you play Lunacy on 4, that's all you're doing on 4. Now, I played this deck with no changes, and I am still sitting, I can quickly pull up my stats on it. I'm still sitting at a 60% win rate since the patch change. And I did not change my deck at all. I still have I have a 4-cost Deck of Lunacy, and I'm running all the 7-cost spells. I thought I would need to rearrange my deck a little bit, but still keep Lunacy in there. No, sure enough, no minion mage, spell mage, whatever you want to call it, is still a really good deck without Deck of Lunacy. All Deck of Lunacy does, and there's a lot of matches I'll draw Deck of Lunacy, but I won't play it because I'm in a good matchup. So I'm going to win just by the cards in my deck. I'm playing a 29-card deck, essentially, at that point. However, if I'm facing a bad matchup, like very aggressive decks or the Hunter that has come out of the woodwork since the balance changes, and I have a chance to play Deck of Lunacy on 4 or 3 with the coin, I do, which raises my chance to win those unfavored matchups. So I really think Deck of Lunacy is... I think it needs to be rotated.
Okay, there you go.
I don't think it needs another nerf.
You think they need to do what they did with the even and odd cards and rotate them early to wild.
Yeah, and not wait until the end of the year to do it so it's only in for a year or something. It needs to go next patch. It needs to go to wild. I know move it to legacy.
Okay.
It needs to go, whatever the next patch is, next balance patch. I'm not saying they make a special patch just for this. Next time they do balance changes, I think Deck of Lunacy, because it's not a huge offender in wild because there's so much higher variance. The pool is too big for it to be that powerful. But because the pool is so small now, and it won't get significantly big enough to dilute it enough until we're in a 6-set meta. I think a 5-set meta might make it on the fringe of playable. Yeah. And a 6-set meta is probably not playable at all.
So if let's say they look at the numbers, decide Deck of Lunacy is still too crazy in standard, they decide to rotate it to Wild, do you think they revert it back to 2 mana in Wild or leave it at 4?
They can. I think at that point it doesn't matter. I think at 2 mana in Wild, I think it's just fine.
Okay.
Because the pool is so big that the variance is so high, it's not going to be consistently good. It could go back to 2 mana. I don't want them to do like they did with the Caverns Below and nerf this 3 or 4 times to try to get it right.
Yeah. So.
Because unless they change the text significantly, I honestly think any mana cost 6 and under is still playable.
Okay.
I think if you made this 6 mana, I would put it in my deck.
There you go.
It sounds silly, but I would.
I've been playing it. When I was playing this week to get my 5 wins, this was the default deck I went to, was no minion mage.
When I go on tilt for playing other decks and not getting the results I want, or facing no minion mage and getting deck of Lunacy out of a win, I go, you know what, fine, I'll just play no minion mage myself, and I do win well with it. I just don't. I could probably be legend right now if I'd stuck to playing no minion mage, but it's not fun either way you look at it from both sides. And I say it's not fun. Deck of Lunacy is not fun. Now, when I win the game without ever playing deck of Lunacy, I enjoy it. When I lose to Spell Mage or no minion mage and they never played deck of Lunacy, hey, it was a good match. It's only when deck of Lunacy's played.
I've won a couple of my games by just burning my opponent down and never once playing deck of Lunacy. I mean, it wins just as well.
There's a few variations, including in the Grandmaster list, that they've added a few minions and just took Lunacy out and a few other tools, but still kept in like the 7-cost spells and just turned it into what they're calling Burn Mage.
Yeah.
Now, occasionally they'll discover deck of Lunacy, or it gets played off of Solarian Prime,
right?
And then all of a sudden we're back into Cheese Town. I just think deck of Lunacy needs to not be in standard.
Okay. Moving on, we then saw Sword of the Fallen, which was one of those cards we talked about. Had its durability reduced from 3 to 2. Again, I don't think this is really affecting its playability at all. You're still seeing this this card be played as often as they can draw it on turn 2 or whatever it is. Yeah.
Its playability has not changed. The deck is almost identical in most cases, minus Penflinger. Some decks are still running the Penflinger just for board clears, and they're not doing bad. The win rate for Paladin is down total about 1% per HS replay. It's down from 57, closer to 2. It was like 57.8 last I saw, and now it's 56.1.
Okay.
And it's still high.
Yeah.
But Hunter's up in the mix now at a 53.8 as we're recording right now, and Warrior is at 52.9. We'll be playing Warrior today,
right?
And I'm mainly seeing the No Hands Warrior deck that we're playing again, that we're gonna play. I've been mainly seeing it on ladder, and right now those are the only 3 classes over 50%.
Yeah.
So this, to kind of ask the question earlier before we finish all these nerfs, the balance changes have affected the meta, but Paladin is still very, very strong and probably will stay strong. And I'll be honest, these Paladin decks I'm seeing out aren't the most refined Paladin decks. I think they can get better.
Okay. So moving on, then we saw a change to Janda Sparrow, and we talked about that as being a possibility. It went from 5 mana up 1 to 6 mana. Again,
yeah, that's still playable.
Yeah, definitely.
And furthermore, it's actually a buff to Apexis Blast because you won't get Janda Sparrow off your Apexis Blast anymore.
That's true.
So I mean, it sounds weird, but now that mage, that no minion mage that didn't play Jandis, is just a hair better, discounting Lunacy.
Yeah,
it's a hair better. Because Jandis isn't in the pool of 5 mana minions.
Yeah.
And Jandis is still very playable in Rogue.
Yes, very much so.
And she is, I mean, This is probably the most do not dust balance change list I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would not dust Lunacy. I would not dust Sword of the Fallen. I would not dust Janda Sparrow.
Nope. So then we had 3 neutral cards get changed. The first up, we're going to talk about the Far Watch Post. So Far Watch Post had its health reduced from 4 to 3. Now this is the 2 mana Watch Post. Yes. So this made it a little easier to remove early game, because if people who were coining this out on 1 or playing it on 2, people were having trouble removing it for at least a turn or 2. And so this kind of makes it a little more easier to remove early game.
Is it? How do you know that?
What?
How do you know? Because nobody's playing Watch Posts.
Oh, I am.
Why are nobody playing Watch? I'm playing so much of the ladder, and I expected with the nerf to Lunacy, it would bring out more aggro decks and bring out more minion based decks, and that is true. You're seeing token druids. You're seeing
face hunter. I've seen a couple
face
of
hunter.
face
You see aggro paladin.
Yeah,
and the natural reaction to this, and we'll go into the next balance change, is Morshan Watch Post, or the 3 mana one we call 3 post. It's gone from a 3/5 to a 3/4. You think the answer to a small minion based meta would be Watch Posts, and it's not. I don't know if it's because of these balance changes that people went, well, that if they didn't nerf the Watch Posts, do you think we'd see Watch Post meta as stronger?
Probably. I mean, and I don't
think that was more of a preventive.
Yeah, nerf. And like you said, I don't get why we're not still seeing it. I mean, I'm still running the Watch Post because, yes, okay, they can remove it with a single spell now at 3 health, but it's still going to tag at least a card to increase the mana cost. That is still good. It is still a target they have to remove.
That might be the next thing I do. If I can try to push into Legend and have some time to play around, I might try to make go back to the Watch Post deck. And see if maybe this meta is a good time to play Watch Post.
So now there's one thing I want to point out, because last week we talked about these Watch Posts possibly being targets for nerfs. And I believe you had said if they change 1 or they change 2, they really need to change all 3. But they didn't. They did not change the 4 mana Watch Post. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. It just, to me, I don't know why you wouldn't just do it across the board. Maybe it's because these kind of hold back a minion-based strategy, where the other one is a spell-based strategy. Mm-hmm. So you're not wanting to hold back a spell-based strategy. That's what a lot of the nerfs, the balance changes are to do. That is to get away from a more spell-based strategy and promote a minion-based strategy. So that may be what they were thinking. And the other one, which reacts to spells being played by your opponent, that's fine, because you're not wanting to hold back. I mean, you're already holding back spells with the other changes. So maybe, I don't know. Now, one other piece of news with this is, it's not in this blog post, and I forgot to put it in show notes. They did put out a tweet that in an upcoming patch, you will be able to get a full dust refund for Kargal, the legendary, that works with Watch Posts.
Okay.
And if you dust Kargal before that patch, but after the 20.0.2 patch, because Watch Posts in your mind are not playable, you will get the rest of that dust refunded. Okay. As long as you dusted after the 20.0.2 patch that happened on the 13th of April.
Okay.
So there is going to be a retroactive dust refund for Kargal. This is a interesting precedence. And so I'm there is a specific content creator that I am not a fan of, but he came out and talked about this and actually gave them big praise for this, because in the past when they've nerfed any, and I'm talking about Zeddy, whenever they nerfed a card that's affected another card, I think Thermoplug or something was one of the other cards that when they nerfed the Leopard Gnomes, then it made it weaker. The difference was that card wasn't even playable. Nobody played that card. They were dusting it anyways. Where Kargal was playable when Watch Posts were playable. So Zeddy believes this is now a precedence that if any associated cards get nerfed, they should also get refunds. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think if it's a brand new legendary or a legendary that sees a lot of play because of that card, then maybe it does need an associated dust refund. But, you know, at that point, you can find almost any connection to any card, you know. Yeah, in the deck that I played this card, and now I don't want to play that card because I'm not playing that deck anymore. And then their effects aren't really matched, but it's just because it's in the deck. No, you're not going to get refunds for that. You shouldn't, in my opinion. But it is a precedence that's interesting, and I don't know if they're going to do that going forward. But it was in response to somebody posting, "Do I get a refund on my Kargal?" And I think it was Dean Ayala, Ixar, said, yes, we are going to do that in an upcoming patch. Okay. So that's a good precedent. Yeah. Hopefully that is something they continue to do within reason. I don't think it should be demanded every single time a card is in a deck that got nerfed.
Right.
But for Kargal, it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. And then the 6th card that got nerfed, hallelujah, praise be to Thrall, Pinflinger. Pinflinger going from Battlecry deal 1 damage to Battlecry deal 1 damage to a minion. So we had talked about this last week. The dev comments on this were Pinflinger equipped some classes with large amounts of chip damage, whether it be to minions or the opposing hero. The flexibility made Pinflinger an attractive option for many decks, but when that utility is combined with repetition, it takes over the story of a match. Pinflinger takes out your minions, might deal 10 damage to your face over multiple turns, and even had the gall to call you names throughout all of it. We are nerfing Pinflinger to now only target minions, positioning it as a removal option rather than a dual threat card. This is what you wanted to see, Zerotio.
This is what I want to see. And in that dev comment, there is one phrasing that stood out to me. Historically, devs, not just in Hearthstone, but in lots of games, don't like to use the term nerf. They like to use the term balance changes. And the fact that the dev comment specifically stated, word verbatim, we're nerfing Pinflinger to now only target minions. I don't think it's because they're changing their vernacular. I think they're wanting to make it real clear to the community that they've been listening, and they're using the terminology that the community uses, which is nerf.
Yeah.
Because in dev speak, devs don't like the word nerf because they don't think it has a good connotation. It means you're negatively impacting an effect. Where sometimes when you lower the power of something, it's not to negatively impact it, it's to positively impact the rest of the meta, of the balances. So I like that they're making it real clear that they were listening to the community on this one. And it's not just because of balance, but a lot of it's because of feeling. However, it's still being played.
Yes.
And it's being played for the right reasons.
Exactly.
Board control, tempo. I saw this in a rogue match. I think it might have been in GMs this weekend, where they had Pinflingers, just kind of that incremental ping damage to keep the board in check. And at one point, they had minions on the board. They didn't quite have lethal. They were just a little bit off, and obviously Pinflinger can't go face.
Right.
But they jammed it. They were able to shadow step their Jandis and Jandist into the 4/5 frenzy minion that has frenzy, give all your minions +2/+2. Then they could penflinger it, buffing their entire board to go face. That's the kind of gameplay I want to see penflinger used for. That's why I said originally I didn't want it to be able to be a frenzy activator, but now that it can only go towards minions and the way the meta is right now, I think we need more frenzy activators, because I expect them to give us more frenzy activators. They didn't. They just gave us frenzy for the most part, except in Warrior, but that's Warrior's thing anyways. So the fact that Rogue can now have an active frenzy activator for Jandis, Paladin now can have ways in mirror matches to pop divine shields and things like that. I like that utility of Penflinger. And this isn't... I haven't dusted a single card in this list.
Neither have I.
And I probably won't. I was on the fence about Watch Posts, but I thought... Because I actually opened some golden Watch Posts. But since the Epic one, which I have both in golden, didn't get nerfed, I don't feel compelled to nerf the other two because they're just common and rare.
Yeah.
And I will get the dust for Cargill if I dust him. But honestly, I think Watch Post is going to be a counter meta here in like 2 or 3 weeks, and Penflinger is kind of been promoted or demoted, depending how you look at it, into almost a tech card.
Yeah.
Especially in some matchups like Paladin in the mirror matchup, where you're bumping your divine shields into their divine shields. Penflinger can kind of give you those divine shield poppers without too much investment, alongside Librams of Wisdoms and things like that. So I think Penflinger's good. Jandis is just, while we're in a 4-set meta and the 5-mana pool is strong, she's going to be good. Sword of the Fallen is just good. It was great. Now it's probably still above average. And Lunacy is just is good in a small pool meta. I kind of wonder if they're going to learn a lot from this set, that they need to maybe save a lot of the crazy randomness for 6 sets, which they kind of did, because Lunacy's from Darkmoon Faire.
Yeah.
But then when you rotate, you're back down to a 4-set meta. So I think the only way to fix the small pool situation is to keep us at a constant 6-set rotation. I'm going to go back to it like I did at the top of the show. If they made it so a set came in and a set came out, and then a set came in and then a set came out, it would really keep the professional scene would be very inconsistent, which I understand that. But the ladder scene and just the casual competitive scene like THL would be so exciting, because every set that came in, we'd have cards leaving, and now we have to learn new pools of cards and new random effects. And if I play this, it gives me a spell in this class. Now that a new set's come out and a set's left, what changes? Right now, we only have to do that once a year, for the most part, to know what's left. And then for the rest of the year, we just see what's added. So I think the solution to cards like Lunacy and Jandis is a 6-set constant meta. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So maybe we play this one out.
So there's all, and then when we have 6 sets in March of next year, we rotate the oldest one out, bring the new one in, keeping 6 sets. And every 4 months we move one out, bring one in.
When the next set comes out, we rotate out the Ashes cards. When the next rotation happens, right, in March, April next year, we rotate Ashes out. And then when the second set comes out for that year, we rotate Scholomance out, and just constantly keep us at a 6-set meta.
Okay.
Because to me, as a casually competitive player that likes to get Legend every month, it's like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm climbing uphill when we're in a 4-set meta. And then I'm reaching that peak in a 5-set meta. And then I'm throwing my hands up and screaming "wee" when we get to the 6-set meta. And then we hit the 4-set meta again. We're going back up another hill. And it's just, I don't enjoy the 4-set metas where I enjoy the 6-set metas. And for a couple reasons. The pools of cards for random effects are more variable in a 6-set meta, and there's much more to play with in a 6-set meta. Like I said, you might have 2 or 3 viable decks per class in a 6-set meta. You can't do that in a 4-set meta. There's just not enough cards.
Okay. All right. Well, that brings us to some Battlegrounds balance updates. We have Queen Wagtoggle coming back, and her hero power is Wax Warband, has actually been nerfed from give a friendly minion of each top +2/+1 to give a friendly minion of each top +1/+1. So I actually did.
Will this make her playable?
Huh?
Will this make her playable?
Dude.
Is this too much?
So, for those of you watching our stream, I just clicked over. I actually got to play her this week. I finished second in my one game with her. I had 1 pirate, 1 murloc, 1 mech, 1 elemental, an amalgam, and a demon, plus a Mithrax, which was just getting massive boosts every single turn. Oh, yeah. She's definitely playable.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
And then I see we got Captain Hook Tusk getting
his hero power.
His changed.
Yeah.
From remove a one gold, remove a friendly minion, discover a random one from the tavern tier lower, to 0 cost, remove a friendly minion, choose one of 2 from a tavern tier lower. So this is kind of like the middle ground of the previous nerf and buffs that she's got. I love playing Captain Hook Tusk back in the day, and then they nerfed her and she was bad.
Yeah.
I might want to try her out again. Yeah,
it's fun. I haven't gotten Hook Tusk this week as one of my choices, but like I just showed you, I did get to play Queen Wagtoggle, and it was a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, and then we'll just run through the minions really quick.
Yeah.
Because they're all minor changes. Steward of Time is going from a 3/4 to a 3/3, and when you set this minion, give all minion to Bob Taverns +2/+1 instead of +1/+1.
Yep.
So it's kind of a nerf and a buff at the same time.
It's a balance change.
It's a balance change. Pack Leader is going from 2/3 to 3/3 with no text change. Monstrous Macaw is going from a 4/3 to a 5/3, more of aggressive stat line, which is interesting. No text change. Herald of Flame is going from a 5/6 to a 6/6. I've always thought it needed more attack because of its overkill, deal 3 damage.
Yeah.
And then Wildfire Elemental is going from a 7/3 to a 7/4. And Lieutenant Gar is a 5/1 going to an 8/1. Wasn't it an 8/1 before?
I don't think so.
I thought it was an 8/1 at one point.
He's a tier 6 that gets +1 health for each elemental you have. So
and I thought he was an 8/1, then they nerfed him to a 5/1.
Yeah, I mean, Lieutenant Gar is one of those characters, like, especially if you're playing Jandis, you want to get to Lieutenant Gar as an elemental as fast as possible, because you buy him, you play him, you use her hero power to put him back into Bob's Tavern, buy him again, play him again. You can get this character up to 1,000 health before you blink twice. It's not hard. And then the Little Rag change is huge. Little Rag is so good as an elemental. Tell us about that one, Zerotio.
Little Rag, and we'll remind you, is a tier 6 4/4 elemental. After you play an elemental, give a friendly minion stats equal to the elemental's tavern tier. And it just goes to a friendly minion, a random one. It's going to a 6/6. So I used to play a lot of elemental when I do play Battlegrounds, and I loved Little Rag, but the problem is the stat line was so small compared to everybody else, and I'm getting them so late. And at 6/6, it's better. at least gives a little bit of base extra +2/+2 onto any buffs. It's +2/+2 that I don't have to find buffs for. So I think this is going to be really big. And also, you can also put Little Rag in a buffer minion spot to like on the far left, so you can make room for your other minions to summon other minions or whatnot. And having a 6/6 as a base stat in that buffer spot is a lot better than 4/4. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it is in Battlegrounds.
Right. So yeah, that was it for Battlegrounds. There were 3 small Duels balance updates. Ace in the Hole went from 2 mana to 3 mana. That's a treasure card. Rally the Troops, which is a card you find during the game. It went from after you play your first Battlecry card in a turn, draw a card, it costs 5 less, to after you play your first Battlecry card in a turn, draw a card, it costs 3 less.
It's a little nerf.
And then the Connections Hero Power went from passive at the start of your turn, add a random 1 cost, to now cost 1 mana, add a random 1 cost minion to your hand.
So basically, you're getting a 1 cost for 1, but
instead of a 1 cost for free at the beginning of every turn.
Well, I played with this one a couple times, and I didn't like it mainly because I like this better. It seems like a nerf, but to me, it's not a nerf, because before you would constantly keep getting these 1 costs, and your hand would get full because you're playing the good cards you chose to put in your deck, and then next thing you know, you're burning cards because you have all these 1 costs, and because you're playing on curve, you don't have the mana to dump them out. So the fact that you get to choose when to put the 1 cost minion in your hand is good.
Yes. And then there was a copious, I say copious because there were a ton of bug fixes and changes.
Real quick, before we get into bug fixes and changes, I want to point out one thing in Arena.
Okay.
They did do an update in Arena. The appearance rate of cards had changed to ensure class balance. And then secondly, Watch Posts and Kargal Battlescar are removed from Arena entirely.
Okay.
So they're no longer in the pool, and that's a big change because Watch Posts were oppressive in Arena for like the time they were there, because they would lock down players, and people, if you got, basically the winner was whoever was able to get Watch Posts.
Right. Okay. And then, like I said, there must be 40 bug fixes here.
There were a lot of bugs in 20.0.
But the one we want to point out, the one that has a lot of the player community talking, is the 4th dot from the bottom on this list. Fixed a bug where players could re-roll into the win 5 games of ranked play mode weekly quest after already completing it that week. So, as I said, there has been a lot of talk about this. When this was discovered a few weeks ago, people were like, oh, I'm finishing my quest, getting my 3,000 experience if you have the 20% boost, and then I'm re-rolling one of my other quests to get that quest again, getting the 3,000 experience, and so on and so forth. You know, if you didn't complete your other 2 weeklies, you could do it up to 2 or 3 times a week. People were like, oh, yeah, we're getting 9,000 experience on just these 3 weekly quests. Well, now they've changed it. And now there are quite a few people in the community that are upset about this, wanting to know, was this a big deal? Was this needed? Was this really affecting anything? And is this just Activision Blizzard going, oh, we don't want the players to be able to get 9,000 experience because then they're not going to need to spend money on packs or things because they're going to burn through the gold faster. What do you think, Zerotio?
This is a bug. So before patch 20.0, this was not possible. And along with 20.0 came a lot of bugs. It was the largest patch they ever did. We kind of expected some stuff to go wrong. We had visual bugs, we had card bugs. There's still a couple out there still they haven't finished addressing, which I'm not blaming them for it. I mean, this was a big patch. And so this wasn't something that was our normal for, ever since we've gotten achievements and quests. I've never been able to re-roll into this before 20.0. When 20.0 came out, I was able to re-roll into this, and I suspected it was a bug. And I believe that this is just a bug fix. This is not a let's cheat the players out of something good move by Team 5 or Activision Blizzard. Now, I believe they want to have these quest systems available for every variety of player. And the majority of players play ranked standard legend. And for the majority of players, being able to re-roll into this quest was a positive thing. However, if I was a Battlegrounds primary player and I had to slog through the win 5 on ranked play because I don't play ranked, just so I can get the extra XP. And then I went back to playing Battlegrounds, and I re-rolled one of my play rank ladder type of quests and got that again. I would be angry. I'd be upset because now you're forcing me to play ranked again after I've already gone through and played that ranked quest. So some players, I'm sure, could be, now I'm sure it's a minority, could see this as a positive change that, finally they're fixing that bug that was making it unfair for me to do my daily quests. Now, the majority of players don't see this as a positive thing. And I understand that. But at the same time, it is a bug. They want to keep these quests. I know I usually get a ranked quest. I always get a Battlegrounds, Duels, Arena quest, and then I usually get a third variable quest. And I re-roll the Battlegrounds Arena ones. I don't really enjoy those modes. So if this was that quest where win 5 games is Battleground, I think is what, or it might be win 3 games is Battlegrounds Arena and Duels. If that was the quest that was bugged, the community would be praising Team 5 for fixing this. So I don't think this is, I think you have a couple pitchfork and torch holding people in the community. I'm going to say it, Jay Alexander, that likes to call out devs and developmental teams for doing bad things to players when they're probably not. They're just trying to fix their game or balance their game. He did put out a major tweet that kind of highlighted this as kind of a raise your pitchfork situation. And one of the comments he put in here was, this company, Activision Blizzard, isn't your friend. They're not your enemy either. They're more like gravity, but for money. This doesn't apply to each employee, just the overall company. Expecting them to care about other things is going to be disappointing. I agree with him in that statement. Activision Blizzard's focus is going to be on making money. And we, as players, really should embrace that to a point. I do think there is a time that developmental companies can get a little overboard with trying to money grab. I'm looking at you, Scopely, for Marvel Strike Force and various other mobile games. But I don't think this is the case with this change. I think this is a legitimate bug that wasn't meant, and a long list of bugs you can see in the patch notes that did cause a poor time for certain players that play Hearthstone, that primarily don't play standard ladder or ranked ladder. And they made this change, and I think it's fine. I really do.
Yeah, I agree.
I know it's a lot of XP, but at the same time, it's a lot of XP because they require everybody to do it because it's a primary we play in Hearthstone.
As I said earlier, the only reason I do that quest is because it is so much XP.
Yeah.
If that quest was the same amount of XP as say the win 5 in Tavern Brawl, Battlegrounds, or Duels, I would re-roll that quest every single week to not have to play 5 games in ranked standard.
And see, I'm the other direction. If the 5 rank quest was lower and the Battlegrounds one was higher, I wouldn't want to do it. I'd do it because it's more XP, but I wouldn't want to.
Yeah. See, I
So
want
I think
to.
this
I
was a
want to
bug.
play Battlegrounds more often.
And see, I don't want to play Battlegrounds and Duels. I've enjoyed those modes, and there are times that I will go to them to relax and have fun and do something that I normally don't do because I don't have another AAA title to play or anything like that. If I don't have a non-Blizzard game to play, I will usually play Battlegrounds or Duels, sometimes Arena. But ultimately, when I sit down and play in my session to play Hearthstone, I want to play ranked standard.
Yeah.
And I think this quest issue was a bug.
I agree.
And they fixed it.
Yep.
So good job fixing your game, Blizzard. And this long list of bugs, I'll be honest, I want to pat them on the back because this is a lot of fixes. And there were a lot of problems. They told us out the gate that 20.0 was the biggest patch they've ever done. And they hope everything goes without a hitch, but it might not. And we saw everything from playability bugs, people not able to queue up with golden core cards, to visual bugs with Yogg. Was it Praise Yogg? That the Paladin quest, Paladin secret, where it causes visual bug to cards not interacting properly. So I'm glad they got to all of this because, man, they're earning their paycheck right now. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what? Here's it's another thing. They just put out the largest patch, and in the past year, they've given us so much new content. They've added mini sets, and to get upset that the company Activision Blizzard is wanting a little extra money grab to be able to pay their employees to keep developing a good game. Come on.
Right?
I mean, like I said, I am not for developmental companies just trying to get more money, just trying to drain that rock. But when Team 5 is giving us such good content and they need money to hire more devs and voiceover actors and artists and engineers for the back end of this game, who's to me to say that's being greedy? That's giving. They've done a good job giving us high quality product that's worth the money we spend on what is considered by some people a free to play game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what if they want to get a little profit margin? I mean, I know that's a touchy subject, and a lot of people are going to flame me for that. But and I'm willing to throw a little money at this company at times because I see the quality work and the community outreach. I mean, you're looking at Alec Dawson, who's constantly communicating on Twitter. Cora, who's one of the newest shining gems to that team, is constantly communicating on Twitter and asking for player feedback. Openly asking for player feedback as a dev. And then Ixar, who's doing these, they're now bi-weekly.
AMAs.
AMAs. He was doing them weekly while he was getting married. And these AMAs he's doing on his own time for the most part. He was answering some of these AMA questions while he was on vacation.
Yep.
And how can you call these people greedy?
Yep.
They're working unpaid overtime. And how can you get? I understand the Activision Blizzard and Team 5 are two totally different entities, but Activision Blizzard is paying those employees. So Jay Alexander, I think you're off base.
Okay.
But he does make a point about Activision Blizzard that I agree with. But I don't think it is relevant in this case.
Okay. So that brings us to this week's Grandmasters, Season 1, Week 2. In the APAC, we saw the semifinals between Allen 870806 defeating High 3-1, and Give Please defeating Tiz 3-1. So in the finals,
High 3, I want to point out, High 3 has really impressed me as one of the newcomers to APAC. And Give Please also, but Give Please was really good anyway.
Yeah, Give Please went on to defeat Allen numbers 3-1. So
that was exciting. I actually got up early and watched that one. That was a good match.
Okay, that brings us to the EU, where semifinals saw Tice defeat RDU 3-1 and Warma defeat Yarla 3-1.
So Tice, up to this point, through 2 weeks of Grandmasters, is undefeated.
Until
he won
the finals.
Week 1, and then he made it to the finals of Week 2, where he faces Warma.
Yeah. And he actually got swept by Warma 3-0 this week.
It was so that match was starting. My wife says, "You want to go pick up lunch?" I said, "Sure." This is just starting. I'll catch the end of it. We came back. It was over.
Oh,
it was
wow.
over. We were gone for maybe 20, 25 minutes. Over.
Yeah. So then in the Americas, which are still playing at the time of this recording,
it just started when we started.
Yeah, so in the semifinals, we've got Frozen versus Eddie and Tincho versus NoHandsGamer.
Yeah, Tincho's kind of impressed me. He's kind of come out of nowhere. He's made some questionable plays and lost some games he probably should have won, which is probably just knocking the dust off. He's still fairly new to GM. He actually... Luna Love, we're gonna make sure Luna is big community member of our show, Hero Power. Luna is made it to top 8 and got knocked out by Tincho.
Yeah.
And so she's consistently doing well. I tried to look for a standings, and you can't find like an up-to-date week-to-week point standings anywhere. They do put them on the broadcast, but on the website I couldn't find it anywhere, and I looked for like an hour. Okay. So I'm hoping they fix that soon, because I want to know where people stand points-wise. And then week 3, next week, they're going to specialist format, and I think they do that for 2 weeks. So I'll be honest, I'm kind of worried about Luna in specialist, because she hasn't been the most successful in specialist, and hopefully the points carry her, and hopefully she does well the next 2 weeks. So we'll make sure to keep reporting on that. If you want an in-depth coverage, Coin Can See does a great coverage of the Grandmasters.
Okay. So that brings us to this week's Tavern Brawl, which is top 3. It says, let's mix it up a bit, shall we? Pick 3 cards, and we'll make you a deck with 10 copies of each card. So I have not done this yet this week.
I haven't, and I'm not going to. I think the pack rewards are not as important as they used to be to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't enjoy this one, because pretty much you have to get in the first hour to do fun stuff that you've thought of. After that, everybody pretty much just posts the top 3 cards they use, and everybody goes in and just plays those 3 cards. So you end up getting lots of the same thing over and over again. It's just not fun to me.
Okay.
So I don't like this Tavern Brawl, and I'm not going to play it.
All right. So that brings us to our deck list of the week, and this comes to us from NoHandsGamer, who is in the top 4 of Grandmasters week 2.
This comes to us from Matt at Arms.
Matt at Arms brought this deck to our attention.
He whenever we can't figure out a deck, he always has one in his back pocket.
Yeah.
And he brought this NoHandsGamer list to our attention. I have played similar versions of this list, but this one seems the best and most refined.
Yeah.
I went really well out the gate with it, and then kind of hit a tilt session like I've been prone to do lately. But I started out 9-1 with this deck.
Okay, so this deck list is as follows: 2 copies of Athletic Studies, 2 copies of Imprisoned Gnarg, 2 Shield of Honor, 2 Stage Dive, 2 Bumper Car, 2 Conditioning, 2 Crab Rider, 2 Parade Leader, 2 Playmaker, 1 copy of Rokara, 2 Warmaul Challengers, 1 copy of Blademaster Samuro, 2 Sword Eaters, 1 Overlord Runtak, 1 Ringmaster Waitley, 1 Tent Thrasher, 2 Troublemakers, and 1 Alexstrasza the Lifebinder. So tell us about how this deck works, Zerotio.
So with the recent balance changes, there's been a lot of focus on minion-based strategies, especially aggressive minion-based strategies. Hunter, Demon Hunter has gotten a little more aggressive. Even Warlock is coming out with a lower curve now because they're not being held back by the mages, and Paladin is a little easier to deal with early game with Sword of the Fallen only having 2 charges instead of 3. So that being the case, this deck tends to counter those strategies by whenever they play their early minions, you play rush minions that have lots of synergies and creates other rush minions and discovers rush minions and has those rush minions get larger and has an aptitude for hand buffing, which increases those rush minions potential, exponentially, even just by +1/+1 into hand, because you have a Runthak, Overlord Runthak buffs is hand buffing, and then Conditioning is the 2-mana spell that gives all minions in hand +1/+1 at rank 1, rank 2's +2/+2, rank 3's +3/+3. And this card is not bad to play with a lot of low curve rush minions, just as 2-mana +1/+1 to your entire hand. I've played it on 2 many times when I've had in my hand bumper cars or the minions from bumper cars, and especially with the Murloc Crab Rider. Okay. He is amazing when he has more than 1 attack.
Yeah.
Because his clear potential is nuts. And then another card that really surprised me in this, and I expected to want to take it out of the list, was Shield of Honor. Mm-hmm. But to be able to, a lot of times people would take the Crab Rider and just double trade into something, swing into it twice, clear it, and it would kill your Crab Rider, no big deal. You cleared maybe a 3-mana minion or a higher stated minion with your lower cost, lower stated minion. But you can swing in with Crab Rider and then Shield of Honor and swing in again just to use the Divine Shield. Or you could swing in twice to like a 1/1 and then use Shield of Honor. And now you have a 3/2 Wind Fury Divine Shield minion on the board that's really hard to get rid of. So there's so much synergy and potential in this deck. And you basically get chip damage from your minions staying on the board. And then you just finish them up with Alexstrasza the Lifebinder. Alexstrasza is basically a neutral Pyroblast for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 8 damage instead of 10, but it's 9 cost and has an 8/8 body.
Yeah.
Which in a lot of cases gets even bigger. I've had my Alexstrasza like 13/13 because of Conditioning and Runtak.
Wow.
Yeah, and Playmaker. Oh my gosh, Playmaker. So Playmaker.
You mean Troublemaker?
No, Playmaker.
Oh, okay.
Troublemaker's good too. Troublemaker's kind of a finisher in this, but Playmaker's a 3-mana 4/3.
Yeah. Okay.
And whenever you play a rush minion, you summon another rush minion, a copy of that rush minion with 1 health.
Okay.
So you play your Runthak, then you get a second Runthak that's a 3/1. That when it attacks, it gives your whole minion, a whole hand +1/+1, and then the 3/6 can still attack, and your whole hand is +1/+1. Yeah. I mean, this whole deck is just synergy heaven, and HS Replay has it listed as Rush Warrior, and even has a good mulligan guide on it.
Okay.
Which I've been using to great effect.
Okay, so let's just go play some games with this, and we'll talk through it as we go.
Yeah.
All right,
Sounds good to me.
so if you are joining us on YouTube, please stay tuned for the live play portion of our show. If you are listening to this via our audio podcast, we'd like to thank you for joining us. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast, and you can find all of our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOGamers or on our website at HeroPowerHS.com. If you do enjoy the show and you'd like to help support and improve it, you can do that by going and joining our Patreon at patreon.com/HeroPower. We'll see you all again next week.
And don't forget to use your hero power.
Alrighty, sir. So I am going to drive.
I'll let you drive this week.
Yeah. So
I got a golden primordial protector.
So I just built this deck. I am at gold rank 10. So let's
we're gonna let you drive this week because you haven't driven in a while, and I kind of hit a tilt session, so I'm gonna let my rank simmer probably for a day.
Okay.
Maybe play some more tonight. Try to hit legend.
So it looks like we're up against a druid first. And right off the bat, we draw Alexstrasza the Loftbinder, Crab Rider, and Shield of Honor. So what are we looking for in our mulligans?
You want your low cost. Imprisoned Gnarg has the highest win rate. Crab Rider's held a lot, but it's still very good. Believe it or not, Shield of Honor has a very high win rate when held, but it's not kept that often.
Okay, so do we hold Shield of Honor and Crab Rider?
I think so. We're facing against a druid, so if it's token, we might be able to have the dream where we can Crab Rider trade, and the next turn we can have Shield of Honor it.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, just throw back Alex. Run that.
Drew into run that. Okay. So our first turn, we are drawing into bumper cars. So
that's actually a great draw.
This is just a pass turn. Yep.
So this gives us a turn 2 play, so we can hold the Crab Rider to possibly use with Shield of Honor on 3.
Yes.
Is he ready to pop off?
Thorn Growth Sentries.
I think I like the bumper cars here.
Okay.
And don't trade.
Okay. So just
don't do anything.
Pass?
Yeah. Because this way he has to buff. And he probably has to put both minions into it, or he's going to have to use his face in both minions, or he can just go face. That's fine.
Okay, he's going to play Guess the Weight. And he's not snap picking this. Okay, so he thinks it's going to be less.
No. Which means he probably got a card right in the middle.
He got it. Yeah, he got it.
So we know the card he originally got was at least 1 cost or higher.
Yeah.
Parade Leader's good too.
So do we play Crab Rider, trade, Shield of Honor like we had planned?
I think so. I think we Crab Rider, run it into a 1/2 along with the bumper cars to clear one of them. Then we Shield of Honor and clear the other one with the Crab Rider. And this gives us a free Divine Shield.
Yeah.
And this is where we kind of, if he can't deal with this, we start running away with it. And we corrupted our stage dive, which is good. Oh, wow. It's a passive draw turn again. What did he guess? Less again?
Yeah, he guessed less again. But that was a snap pick that time.
That was. Which meant he got a fairly high card.
Yeah.
Probably 3 or 4 cost. Ooh.
So do we stage dive first? Yeah. Samuro.
Oh, that's really, really good because we're gonna run that next turn. I think we just throw down a Wormhole Challenger.
You think so over the Parade Leader?
Yes, because we're probably going to be able to use the bumper card minions with Parade Leader later to clear.
Okay.
We want to say parade leader. If we didn't have bumper cars on the board, I probably would say, yeah, let's put out the parade leader. But the 110 body is going to be really hard for him to deal with. And if we can get Rokara, oh my gosh, Rokara on Warmaul Challenger is nuts.
Yeah, so he's coining to Glowfly Swarm.
Oh my gosh, that's so bad. Because Samaro is just going to clear that.
Clear the entire board.
So we play Samaro, right?
Do we? Yeah.
Because it's a 3/7 now. And then we play the stage dive. We don't want to play stage dive first because we want to corrupt it. I mean, I wanted to run that turn, but yeah, we just swing everything face, Samuro one of those minions, and then we stage dive. And I think we just win now.
Yeah.
Toaster just doesn't have any kind of clears. Oh, that's so good. 3/5 Crab Rider with Parade Leader makes it a 5/5.
Yeah. Okay, Solar Eclipse.
So, Arbor up? No, if he arbored up, okay.
Thorn Growth Sentries, okay.
I think we still have lethal. So if we Crab Rider, we kill 2 of those. No, not an easy lethal.
No, because he's going to gain... No, he's not going to gain any. So, yeah.
Those aren't lifesteal.
No, 3, 4, 5. What about...
Let's athletic studies.
Okay.
We might run that, but let's athletic studies first.
Crab Rider, Imprisoned Vilefiend, or Bumper Cars? Do we Crab Rider, Run Talk, and double buff the Crab Riders?
I think so. I think we Crab Rider. If we had no, stop. Parade Leader, Crab Rider. You can do that now because of the mana reduction. And now that's lethal. Use the Crab Riders to both clear the other 2. There you go. And then you go face. And you win. That's right. I forgot about the reduction from athletic studies.
Okay. Done.
And I was like, oh, we don't have 6 mana, and I forgot it's only going to be 5 mana.
Yeah. All right.
Good win. I wish I was seeing Token Druid at my rank.
Well, that's why I thought maybe I should play at my rank instead of you playing at your rank this week.
This morning I was seeing some crazy. I did see 1 Token Druid. I did see some weird priests, and that was able to get me up to Diamond 2, but mainly it's just been Mage and Paladin.
Yeah.
Still, even after the balance changes.
So here's a Mage.
The Hunter. Now I'm doing well against Hunter with this deck.
All right, so we got Imprisoned Gnarg, War Maul Challenger, Troublemaker, and Crab Rider. So do we just throw back the Troublemaker, or do we throw back Troublemaker and War Maul?
I think Crab Rider is not going to be good in this matchup, and neither is War Maul.
Okay.
Though it's a big body, I think he's going to be better later when it can get buffed. Imprisoned Gnarg is the highest win rate when kept and has the highest kept. So I think we just keep the Gnarg, throw everything else back, and we want to try to get some athletic studies, maybe Shield of Honor.
Stage dive, Shield of Honor. Okay.
We don't have a real good way to corrupt our stage dive yet.
No. Well, there's bumper cars.
Oh, that's good. So we're gonna Gnarg, and then we'll have bumper cars next turn.
Okay.
So the difference in the mage match is a lot of those early cards where we use to kind of clear the board and keep board.
Yeah.
It's not going to matter. You just want the big stuff down quickly.
Right. Okay.
So bumper cars.
We draw Sword Eater. Okay. So bumper
really
cars.
good.
Pass.
Yeah, pass.
Because we could coin Tent Thrasher next turn if he plays something, but he's playing no minion mage.
He might play something. He just got Fauna Power, so that's good. Yeah, this is no minion mage, and it probably has Lunacy in it. And this will be a good match until he plays Lunacy. It's just been my experience. It's just I hate that that's my experience right now. It needs to be rotated.
Yeah.
Send it to
So there's lab partner.
Well, that gives us a target. I mean, technically, we have the weapon to clear the lab powder, so we don't have
That's true. We don't have to Tent Thrasher this turn.
And it's not 4 mana anymore because he cleared our. Oh, yeah, that's right. We're getting a demon back. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Ooh. What is better for us? I think the Tent Thrasher probably is better play because if we stage dive here, there's only 2 more mana. We're probably going to hero power or maybe play the 1/1s. I think you're right. I think the Tent Thrasher is probably the Tent Thrasher probably the way to go. But let's clear that with our faiths.
Too late. Too late.
Well, never mind. I'm thinking old Flame Strike, not new Flame Strike.
Do we? Yeah, because it would.
We go face.
Yeah,
we go face.
Flame Strike wouldn't have mattered.
If we didn't have Sword Eater in hand, I might be tempted to hold our weapon charge.
But
we have Sword Eater in hand.
Right.
Yeah.
So we need to use the weapon. So Apexis Blast would have killed it anyway. Didn't matter.
Yeah.
Do we stage dive first?
Well, if we're going to play... So my thought is we'd use our face in the Gnarg to clear that, and then just play the Sword Eater.
Okay, we can do that.
That way we have more, we have a fresh weapon. We're using our health as a resource. And you deal with their minions when they come out, because they don't have a lot of reload.
Right.
Unless they Lunacy, then they have endless reload.
So
he's digging. I hate being salty about a meta, because that's just not me.
Yeah.
This is just one of the worst cards that have affected the meta in a long time. And I think the reason we didn't see it as a problem before is because it was a 6-set meta.
Yeah.
That's the only reason we didn't say, because people were like, well, Lunacy was already in the set. Why is it now a problem? It's because we only have 4 sets in the meta.
It's a much smaller pool. Yep.
Yeah. And we got rid of lots of the bad options from Classic and Basic. They're just gone. So we want to kill that to shut off Apexis Blast. Ooh, that gives us an interesting... Okay. So what are our best options?
So we've got 3 rush minions, the Warmaul Challenger, and a conditioning in our hand that gives everything +2/+2. We have Shield of Honor, Stage Dive, and
I want to get that
weapon.
Conditioning off. But I also want to get a Shield of Honor on that 2/1. But we need to clear both minions. So I think what we do is we play Conditioning one of the riders to run into the 4/3.
Okay.
Use our face on the 3/2. And then I think we can Stage Dive and Shield of Honor the 2/1.
Well, do we want to do... Oh, yeah, it gives it Divine Shield. Yeah, okay. So Stage Dive.
Stage Dive's corrupted. I know we could have Stage Dive before the Conditioning, but we need the Conditioning to corrupt the Stage Dive.
Right. All right.
So it's not an Overlord. Ooh, the Overlord Runtak's a good draw.
Yes, it is.
We can Overlord Runtak into Darkmoon Rider next turn, giving us a 4/4 Rider.
Yeah.
If he has a minion for Runtak to run into. And buffing December even larger. Yeah, a large Warmaul set Challenger gets silly. Yeah. Because it can clear such big minions.
There's a Confection Cyclone. And a Sugar Elemental. Oh, he's playing into Samuro.
He sure is. But do we want a Samuro is the question.
I think so.
I don't think so.
We play it and run into the 1/2 and kill everything, leaving a 3/7 on the board.
But what if we run that into the 3/2?
Okay.
Then we Dark Moon Rider a 1/2, which will be a 4/4. We use our face on a 1/2. We now have Runthak, Dark Moon Rider, and the 5/1, and then we have an even bigger Samuro for a bigger board.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
This gives us a better board and a better clear later.
Okay. Now it's turn 7, so
clear,
if he has Flame Strike.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the same situation as we would have been with the Flame Strike.
Yeah.
Well, it would have Flame Strike pain, but no, because it would have been a 3/8. So yeah, it would have been the same situation with the Flame Strike.
So there's Deep Freeze.
Look at this. See, now these minions are better minions to clear.
Okay.
Than what we had.
So how are we going to go about clearing them though?
We Samuro into one of them, and then we hold on. No.
Oh, sorry, too late. Already let go.
Parade Leader Samuro is what we probably should have done, but that's fine. We can still manage off this because Parade Leader would have given Samuro.
Yeah, the plus two he needed.
Go ahead and run one in, and then use Warmaw Challenger on the other one. Just Warmaw into it. It'll be frozen, but it's such a big minion, he's got to deal with it. I mean, look, he's a 13. I'm hitting in turn like I'm playing. I'm like, why won't this end turn one work? Yeah, to be honest, a Parade Leader's probably better with the Crab Rider since it's not buffed. I don't know.
Okay. So I'm guessing he's not drawn into... Okay. Ras, Frost Whisper. Lab Partner. Okay, so that's going to be 2 damage to everything.
But it doesn't clear the Runthak.
It does not.
Which means our hand gets buffed even more. Okay, so conditioning.
Parade Leader.
Crab
Rider.
That puts... So Runthak to face. Then Parade Leader, Crab Rider, clear both minions with the Crab Rider. Because it will be a 6/7.
Yes, okay.
And then Hero Power for good measure.
Don't forget to use your Hero Power.
And he hasn't cast Lunacy, so he doesn't have any Cheese Way. And I can't imagine anything that's going to deal with this entire board.
So he's digging with Arcane.
So he can still Flame Strike, but he still has...
He still has the 6/7 and the 4/8 would survive a Flame Strike.
Yep. Ring Toss. I don't think there's anything in Ring Toss that will save him because the 3 damage one doesn't exist in Standard anymore.
I think he's hoping.
And
I mean, the only thing
Ice Barrier doesn't save him.
Right.
We're not going to need to cast a spell if he doesn't deal with this board. Fireball. I think he's still dead. Yep. Oh, yeah, he's definitely dead now. We win.
Does it matter order we send him in?
No. Because the 3 damage to the board doesn't matter anymore. It's Ice Barrier, and I think Incinerates, or whatever that one secret is, doesn't exist anymore either.
Yeah.
So, yep, we just win.
All right, 2-0, just like that.
Is good. This deck is, when it can get off like that, it's silly good. And we didn't even get into the nutso stuff. When you start throwing in Rokara and every Crab Rider swing gives the Crab Rider +1/+1 because of Rokara, or you Playmaker Rokara, which duplicates the Rokara, and the Crab Rider, which duplicates the Crab Rider, and then all those Crab Riders are getting +2/+2 every time they swing. It can get nutty.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's just so many ways to...
Yeah, the synergies in here are just... Every card synergizes with, like, every card.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
And then
it's
you
ridiculous.
have Alexstrasza and Troublemaker just to finish off the games. Because Troublemaker on an empty board is what? 8 mana for a 5. Is he 5/8? And then
He
a
summons two
fireball to face.
3/3s. Or yeah.
It's a fireball to face.
Yeah.
So yeah, and usually your troublemakers are not that. I think it's a 6/8. It's not 6/8. It's much higher because of conditioning and root deck.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of math involved in this deck because you have to start factoring in the run deck damage and the parade leader damage, and we even messed that up once.
Right.
Where we didn't think about the parade leader damage. We could have cleared us that board, but honestly, that put us in a better spot. That play we did, because it gave us more health on the board, where before we wouldn't have had nearly as much health on the board.
Right. Yeah.
Oh.
All right, guys. That's going to do it for us this week. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Hit that subscribe button below on YouTube if you haven't done so already, and click that little bell notification to get notified whenever our episodes drop. If you don't know, that's usually about 9 a.m. on Monday mornings. But yeah, check it out. And if you are interested in our patron-only Discord, you can be a member of that for as little as $1 a month over at patreon.com/heropower. And until next week, good gaming.
Bye, guys. Have fun.